A happy Monday to everybody. Welcome into the show. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. As for what we're getting into here, more breaking news after the Brock Purdy contract extension. And let's begin there because there are some new details with this Purdy contract. Now, on Friday, we found out that it's a 5-year contract for Purdy, $265 million. $181 million in total guaranteed money, average annual value of $53 million. That makes him the 7th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, tied with Jared Goff at that number in AAV. And then last night, some important details for this Purdy deal. And this is something that I did not expect because it's so rare in the National Football League. Mike Garafolo, NFL insider, on it, saying that as part of his 5-year, $265 million extension, quarterback Brock Purdy received a full no-trade clause for the duration of the deal. So Purdy gets financial security and control over his future in a deal that will be finalized and official soon. What this detail means to me, few things. The 49ers really believe in Purdy. San Francisco thinks that he is their guy and he is their franchise quarterback. The Niners also gave Purdy what him and his agent wanted in this contract. As noted, it gives Purdy a lot of security for his future, not just financially, but knowing where he's going to be. And he now enters into a very unique tier. There are only now 9 players I know of who have full no-trade clauses in the National Football League. All of those players, quarterbacks. Why? It's the most lucrative and important position, and quarterbacks have a lot to say as far as how their deals are. So Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens, Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions, Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys, Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons, Trevor Lawrence, Jags, and Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers, the only 9 players in the NFL with full no-trade clauses. Oftentimes, these details in contracts are not public, and so usually we find out this information when reporters like Mike Garafolo are given some of that news, and that's how we found out last night with Purdy. And why I think this Purdy deal is a steal, and it continues to get better and better and better, in my opinion, as the days go on. This is a contract that did not reset the quarterback market. Oftentimes, when there's a first contract of its kind in an offseason for a position, it can oftentimes reset the market. This doesn't do that. And remember, there were rumors of Purdy getting $60+ million per year. I had said here on the show, I would not give Purdy that much money. The good news is this deal does not come close to that. It's also $53 million in average annual value. That soon will not be in the top 10 among quarterbacks in the NFL. Why is that? NFL salary cap is going to continue to go up. It has gone up astronomically just over the last couple of years. And with business skyrocketing and booming in the NFL, that just means the salary cap will go up. In turn, player contracts go up. And so this next wave of young quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, they're going to demand between $60 and $70 million because that's going to be the going rate for players at that position. The guaranteed money on this Purdy contract is also a lot lower than I thought. I had predicted about $200 million because that was a little bit more than the likes of Jalen Hurts, who signed his deal after 2022. I thought that deal was outdated. So Purdy at 181, I think that's phenomenal value here. The team structure of this contract is also team-friendly. It's kind of front-loaded in a way where Purdy gets a lot of the money in the first few years. And so that gives the Niners a lot of security on the back end if things don't work out. In the next 6 years, Brock Purdy is under contract with San Francisco because he's under contract for this year and then the 5 years of this new contract extension. The average annual value for that, $45 million per season. Not top 10. in the NFL. And so I just want people to look at this contract not just in a financial sense. Some of the nuances clear up some confusion. Purdy is also occupying 18.9% of the Niners' salary cap with this contract. That is 14th in the NFL. He gets $100 million at signing. That's 12th. And last year, he was playing on an offense that was the second most injured offense in the NFL in 2024. Barely played with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Trent Williams. And I think that Purdy, still being 24 years old, can continue to get better. Look at what he's accomplished so far in his NFL career. He comes in as Mr. Irrelevant in 2022. Final pick of the NFL draft. Goes 5-0 in the regular season. Wins 2 playoff games. He was victorious in both of the playoff games that he started and finished. Lost in the NFC Championship game, but he was also lost in that game early in the first quarter. And in the regular season, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 8.1 yards per attempt, and a passer rating of 107.3. Year 2, top 5 in MVP voting, one of the more efficient seasons that we've seen in quarterback history. And he was phenomenal that year. He throws for 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and 9.6 yards per attempt. That led all quarterbacks in the NFL. And he had a passer rating of 113 on the dot. It's incredible. So he led the NFL in touchdown percentage that year, led the NFL in yards per attempt, led the NFL in air yards per attempt, led the NFL in yards per completion, led the NFL in passer rating and QBR, and then also led the NFL in net yards gained per pass attempt. And then last year, 6-9, second most injured offense in the NFL. The numbers, of course, go down a little bit. And yes, he struggled. I've talked about that. He played mid at portions of last year. 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. Still 8.5 yards per attempt and a passer rating, not horrible, not even bad, at 96.1. And so for his entire career, you're looking at a guy who has been the point guard for Kyle Shanahan's offense, runs the scheme to the way that Kyle Shanahan sees fit. He's been very accurate. 67.5% of his passes have been completed. He processes at an elite level, throws with touch and anticipation. He's won a lot of games. The touchdown-to-interception ratio is 64-27. And despite him barely playing with a lot of his star players last year, and just important playmakers at that, here's where he ranked among all quarterbacks in 2024, with him struggling, quote-unquote. Number 2 in explosive rating, number 2 in passer rating against zone, number 3 in yards per attempt, number 3 in pressured completion percentage, number 4 in success rate, number 5 in EPA per attempt, number 6 in QBR, number 8 in deep ball completion rate. That plays. The entire body of work, it's been damn good, and that's why the Niners feel very confident about giving him this contract extension. And it's a win because it's not north of $55 to $60+ million per year. That right there is good value. In the NFL nowadays, the going rate for good quarterback play is $50+ million per season. So knowing what you know now, do you like this Brock Purdy contract extension? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Great news here on the 49ers Report, by the way. Among all channels at Chat Sports, here on the 49ers Report, we've sold some of the most jerseys at the entire company. That's incredible. Chat Sports is booming. We're reaching millions and millions of people every single month here worldwide, and it's been awesome to reach a few million people per month here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Looking ahead to the 2025 season, if you want a Niners jersey, get yours today at chatsports.com/49jersey. So many different jerseys available. And if you want something other than a jersey, a polo, a hoodie, a hat, whatever, something for your man cave, you can still use that link down below because Fanatics has everything that you want and need. You want former players like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, the GOAT? Again, use that link down below, chatsports.com/49jersey. The other portion of today's show is this that I want to talk about, and I did an at-home video from the crib last night talking about this report from Jennifer Lee Chan, but it was late on Sunday. A lot of you probably didn't see the video or hear about this news, but it's significant. for the Niners here. According to Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Bay Area, the 49ers are very close to finalizing a multi-year deal with All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner. She cites sources here, but she also is at Fred Warner's local football camp over the weekend. The sources, probably Fred Warner himself. So you know it's coming from a good spot. Here's what Lee Chan said in her story on NBC Sports Bay Area. After brokering significant extensions with both Brock Purdy and George Kittle, the 49ers are now very close to finalizing a multi-year contract extension with star linebacker Fred Warner, sources tell NBC Sports Bay Area. San Francisco appears to have learned from its past and desires a drama-free offseason, unlike 2024, where multiple players were absent from team headquarters while working through contract negotiations. Warner's extension likely will make the All-Pro the highest-paid inside linebacker in the NFL while keeping the 2018 third-round pick in the Bay Area for the foreseeable future. I love how the Niners seem to have shifted their thoughts and their philosophy here with having a change in how they do business. When you wait to get these contract extensions done, you run the risk of the market being reset. That has happened to the Niners multiple times, and in turn, it costs you a lot of money. For instance, you could have had Ayuk at $25 million per year last year. Then you had to give him 30 because you waited. Same thing happened with Debo. It played a role in the Nick Bosa deal. It's just important to get these deals done early to get ahead of the curve. Sometimes you can even do it a year before the Niners have done these deals. The Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman do that a lot, and then you get that player at about 60 to 70% of market value. The other thing that happens is what happened to the Niners last year. You just cause all of this noise, unnecessary drama, all of this tension to hover over your organization. And that black cloud, that dark cloud, it hovered over the Niners going into the regular season last year, and it resulted in the Niners just being clunky on both sides of the ball. They didn't play with any rhythm, and it was bad. The other thing, too, when you sign contracts early, as I noted, for instance, you sign Fred Warner now. His contract runs through 2026. But if you were to sign him going into the 2027 season, at that point, some of the top off-ball linebackers in the NFL with the increase in salary cap might be making $25 million per year. With Fred Warner, you can probably get him at $21 million, and you can open up some salary cap space right in the immediacy. So this current deal for Warner runs through 2026. This new deal can open up cap space now. Right now, he's the second highest paid off-ball linebacker. So the deal that he signed in 2021 is a little bit outdated. He is still playing at a very high level, elite player in this league, one of the top overall defensive players in football, and he's been very durable. He's missed one game since 2018, and he's a four-time All-Pro. This is a no-brainer move for San Francisco. Obviously, on the field, he's one of the top overall football players in the NFL. Do yourselves a favor. When you watch Niner games, don't watch the ball. Just watch 54 roam. It's incredible what he does. But when you're running a business, you always want to make your best, most valued employees happy. The Niners are doing that with Kittle and Warner partially because they understand that they are pillars of this organization. They are the backbone of this Niners team. They are part of the fabric of the San Francisco 49ers. They're all-time greats for your organization and future Hall of Famers. And they set the standard for everybody else. And sometimes you cannot put a price tag on that. And here's what Warner has done in the last 4 years. I mean, last year he suffered a broken bone in his ankle in week 4. Played the rest of the games. He could have sat out knowing that the Niners, with the few weeks to go in the regular season, had their playoff hopes dashed, right? Still played. And still played at an unbelievable level. 131 tackles last year, 7 PBUs, 4 forced fumbles, and a coverage grade of 88.4, the highest that it was over the last 4 years. Before he got hurt, he was looking like the defensive player of the year. And so in each of the last 4 years, triple-digit tackle numbers, really good pass breakup numbers as he is just a maven as an off-ball linebacker. He's always forcing disruptive plays, especially with the forced fumbles, the interceptions, and the PBUs, and the coverage grade continues to be stellar. He's great against the run, and the Niners don't use him a lot as a blitzer because he's so good in coverage, but he can be utilized there. As for what he might get with his new deal, we'll talk about that here in a moment, but this gives you some insight as to what he could demand and what the Niners might pay him. Roquan Smith, he makes $20 million per year, highest paid off-ball linebacker in the game. He's not at Fred Warner's level. Fred Warner is at 19 and a nickel. He's ahead of Tremaine Edmonds. Zach Bond kind of reset the off-ball linebacker market this offseason by getting $17 million per season by Philadelphia. He was a first-team All-Pro alongside Fred Warner. So after Bond got paid, Nick Bolton got 15. Jamian Sherwood got 15. And Dre Greenlaw ended up getting paid. Terrell Bernard ended up getting a contract too. You see Dre Greenlaw there, former Niner, at 10.5. He's the 10th highest paid off-ball linebacker in the game. But of course, with play and durability, he too, not on the same level as Fred Warner. And I think the off-ball linebacker position is kind of like the tight end spot, right? Quarterbacks and wide receivers get all of the big-time money on offense. On defense, it's cornerbacks and defensive ends. But with the way that tight ends play, how much they're involved, and the meaning that they have for the offense, they're at a fraction of the cost of wide receivers as pass catchers. Compared to defensive ends and corners, linebackers, it's so underrated how important they are, yet we see defensive players, defensive tackles, defensive ends, corners making 20, 25, 30, 40-plus million dollars per year. And so Fred Warner at 20, it's a lot for a linebacker, but I think it's actually a bargain given how much he means to the Niners on that side of the ball. And so a theme of this offseason for San Francisco, locking up key pillars. I've been talking about this for months. They signed Brock Purdy to his contract extension. They lock up George Kittle on his extension, and Fred Warner soon to come. I imagine that deal is going to get done some point very soon. So with Purdy's deal again, 5 years, $265 million total, $181 million in total guaranteed money, average annual value 53, becomes the highest paid Niner in the history of this organization. George Kittle, he gets 4 years, $76.4 million, $35 million in total guaranteed money for an average annual value of 19.1. What I think this Fred Warner contract projection is going to be, I don't know if he gets a 5-year deal because there's already 2 years left on his current deal that runs through 2026. And so it's not like he's going into a contract year. So I think this could be 4 years tacked on to the 2 that he has left, which is why it's not a 5-year contract. And so I think he gets $21 million average annual value. That makes him the highest paid off-ball linebacker in the game. It could also be kind of like how Kittle took down Trey McBride. McBride got 19, Kittle got 19.1. Maybe the Niners give Fred Warner 20.1. But I think he's so special, he's meant so much, and he's such a great team leader and captain that the Niners give him 21, where it's not even close between him and Roquan Smith. A full $1 million is the difference there. That rounds out to be $84 million over the 4 years. And then he gets somewhere between $50 and $60 million. The last deal that he got was a 5-year contract. He got $45 million in guaranteed money. So with that, we're talking about Warner. We're talking about Kittle. Who is your favorite all-time Niner? I want to know down in the comments section. Thanks for watching as always. And don't forget to subscribe.